can just exit.
Goodbye.
Thylacine. Speaking of Australia, a thylacine would be a Tasmanian tiger.
They're extinct?
Not necessarily, actually.
Oh.
They may have discovered a living one, although they don't know that they can track it down. They've tried a couple times and have not come to conclusions.
If you only have like one or two, they're still extinct.
They are... I forget, there's a term for it.
Dead.
Specifically, where it's not technically extinct, but it is extinct. But yeah, so... let's see here. Now you can get a better view of the drawlings I've been doing. Pony. I see ponies in the background. So... the first major drawing in my sketchbook from this time so far is this one, which is a scene from my D&D thing, and it's one of the first full backgrounds I've ever done. Then the next one, I don't know how well this is going to show up with this camera. It's a shading practice with a wine glass. There we go. For just a second, it was visible. So this is the focal character from Brakow's stuff. Demo, the one who is player 1, the player 2 being Iris here. Iris, this is the one that's not complete. I need some colors that are at work and not here. This is my avatar on Discord. Here's a better zoom in of Michigan, often just called Mishi. I'm super happy with how that one came out. Here's science. So now you can get a better view of it. The games were made in Lunar Magic, and so they're based on Super Mario World, and so at the time when Rauka was playing a lot of the Mario stuff that I watched, he used save states when he first started. And so it says save state error in the corner because science has the ability to warp time using save states. That was the gimmick that was supposed to go into it. And so there was a glitch, and so you have your like broken fragmented pieces of tile sets and stuff, and then I also just decided to include a very confused Bubble Man who has no idea why on earth he's there. This was the Pagani Zonda. It's technically not done. There's a lot of shading and coloring still to do, but I don't know if I'm going to continue on it just because it's taking a long time, and I don't have a steady enough hand or a sharp enough pencil for some of the things I'm trying to do. This is Nevada.
Don't listen to him. He's a pirate.
This is Polly. You can just barely see Polly here because it started to fade and I didn't color Polly because this is a made-up demo.
She's not real. She died a long time ago.
This is the one that he really likes.
That's a favorite of mine. What's her name?
Pandamona.
They're all female?
No, Garish is male, and I think Nevada is male. This is Garish, speaking
Garish
of.
looks like one of the younger ones.
And Pilly. There we go.
So Rauka named them all, huh?
I believe so, and this is Callioca. And then the last page was the one that I was doing, which is Iris right now. That one's almost done. I just gotta get the flesh colored pencil and a couple others that are at work. And then I will be done. And then I will have completed the whole set for Raukau. So that's what I've been working on. That's why I was kind of not as talkative today, is because when I was over here I was drawing. And actually I was coloring, not drawing. Finishing up all the colors of mostly her hair and the redoing line art. But that is where we are. So, with that said, thank you. Into Discord to see comment right now. Yeah, I'm really, really happy with how Pandemona came out. I'm really happy with the shading. It's been a long time working on that one. And I'm really happy with how it came out. I put a lot of things into it. So, like in the front foreground, oh, I switched back. Um, so I referenced some things here. So, like it says Pilly's stuff, and then because it's a spaceship, there's spare parts. You can just barely read. This one says Iris. Probably would say Iris's stuff. I don't know. This just says Bongo Pops because I wanted to come up with some sort of silly name for a ice cream thing that they might have had that they just used the cardboard box to store stuff in. And then up here, this one has the Futurama alien text on it. And it says fragile on the top and then this side up on the side. Because I felt like it would be fun since they're a spacefaring group to have that font on the side of it as a thingy. And so it has a few little bits and pieces to it that I thought were just kind of a fun thing to include. But with that said, I will still be in the chat on Discord. I'm not going to bed for another hour or so. I really had a lot of fun with it. Rauka was one of the earlier people who kind of pushed me to do more with drawing, because before I started showing the art that I had to him, I'd mostly just drawn My Little Pony things. And he was like, you really need to branch out. And I was like, I know, but I really like doing these. And he's like, yeah, but you should still branch out. And so when I decided to go back to joining his stuff and I hopped on his Discord, I decided I would start drawing things related to him. But the first major practice that I had stepping away from drawing pony stuff was when I joined the art Discord that I'm also on, which if anyone is interested in learning art, I really recommend them go there because they have they have a great community. The people there are really helpful, and the way that it works, there's kind of an incentive to keep drawing recent times because you get more experience on the thing if you draw more continuously within a week of each other. And so I started trying to think of things that were more challenging to draw instead of just drawing pony after pony after pony, which is what a lot of my earliest stuff is. So I started by doing Undertale drawings actually before I joined there. And then I started looking at the forum and started trying to branch out when I got into that forum. And so a lot of my first notebook, which I might have put away by now because I didn't want it to get damaged, which was actually a writing notebook. And so people were saying, why don't you draw on something that doesn't have lines? So that's when I got the second one, but decided that since I'd already started, since I'd already started on this book, I figured I would just go through and do all of them. So this has my earliest drawings of Kit in it. Yeah, that's what I can do. My earliest drawings of Kit in it. This is my D&D character. This is probably my favorite drawing of him. I'm really happy with how it came out. Focus, bro. Why do you do this to me all the time? There we go. I'm really happy with how that came out. That's kind of exactly how I would visualize Kit if I were to. This has a lot of Pokemon fan art because I was playing Pokemon Go a lot, and I started by using sources of, or the graphics that are in it as sources to learn how to draw Pokemon. We did Odin Sphere, as you saw. So here is Mori, who we still don't know who does the voice for it. Lots and lots of Pokemon drawings. This is Hervig. This is one of the other characters from our D&D group. Hey! SNES controller. That was the first system we had at my house. This was a Pokemon fusion I did of Duskull and Nidorino. And then this is Nidorina and a little BB Nidoran. Going back to, I did still draw some ponies in here, so here's Featherweight, who's one of my favorite Pokemon. One of my favorite ponies. Um, he, at the time I first started liking the character, became a character that was in my story, and at that time he didn't have a voice. And so I had a lot more mentality on things about him than was in the show at the time. And, oh, that's grass. Um, that changed when the show brought him back in one other episode. I don't really like the voice they gave him. I think it's okay. I just don't like it. Here's some emotions drawings of Monster Kid. Monster Kid sitting on something laughing. My super spooky Rotom Rangers logo that I made. Arya, a character I used in my last D&D group that I don't use anymore. Kit wearing some kind of fancy clothes from the time. Just a regular fox drawing, because on the art Discord that I'm on, they have a different achievements for drawing different things, and one of them is a just basic animal. There's another ponies drawing. Here's my colored Monster Kid drawing. This is another one of my favorite drawings that I've ever done. I have the dates from when I drew it and the date from when I colored it. This might be one of the first fully colored artworks that I did. Pachirisu taken directly off of one of the Pokemon cards and flipped one horizontally. I did a realistic style Magnemite, quote unquote realistic. He has more of like a photo lens. Another one of the one. This was one of the proudest I've ever been of shading. This is my Staryu drawing. It's one of my like bragging pictures. Hide me behind this. Focus. There you go. Well, for a second anyway. There we go. Yeah, I was super happy with how that one came out as well. There was on the Discord, there was a thing for a while of drawing magical girls, so I decided to theme the Cutie Mark Crusaders as magical girls. So there's Scootaloo, there is Sweetie Belle, there is Apple Bloom and Featherweight. Let's see here. 1 second. I can't see the chat now. Here is from an old movie I watched when I was a little kid a lot. Milo and Otis, The Adventures of Milo and Otis. Come on. I understand why this was, this was considered one of the best cameras. It was recommended because I did research on the cameras that I was going to get if I decided to get a camera. There we go. So there's Milo and Otis. It's from the movie poster. This was kind of a tongue-in-cheek, so you have a week to do something. So I only had a little bit of time on one day, so I made the thing that said, please reset the streak timer for me, so that way I could buy some time until I had time for a full drawing. I made this for Izzy, a rabbit squirrel critter. Here's a me tool. I'm not afraid to draw something from a game that doesn't really interest me. Here is Ash from the Fantastic Mr. Fox. I love this film. It is probably one of my favorite films of all time. That is Ash Fox. And then speaking of favorite films of all time, this is probably my favorite film of all time, is The Lamb of Time. Unlike the creator Don Bluth, though, I really do enjoy the sequels. I have enjoyed them. I've talked about them in the past that I enjoyed them. This was kind of a dark mattery, kind of Kirby looking monster that I made one day, just trying to do something weird and different. This was a Minecraft creeper, made freehand. I did not have a ruler. I think I tried to use something to make some lines at one point and I didn't do very well, so I just tried to freehand them after that. Here was a bone structure of a hand, which actually doing this helped me a lot because it made me realize where the thumb is by comparison to the finger bones as far as length is concerned, and also where the split is compared to where your finger bones are. This was a really fun practice that I had, drawing the musculature of a face. Specifically, this is actually my face's shape that I was basing it off of me looking upward. Here's just a random, like, rabbit guy. I don't actually have any characters associated with this, but this was what came to mind and I did it that day. This is a scene from To the Moon, if you have seen that playthrough or played that game. Here's another featherweight drawing. I draw more featherweight than Scootaloo, even though I also really like Scootaloo, simply because there is not much art of featherweight. There's a lot of art of Scootaloo by comparison. My D&D character bought actually a storehouse and then added a tavern onto it called the Dapper Fox, and so I drew a sign that would hang above. It would be one of those that this would be the text on the bottom, and it would be one of those signs that's like flat with the name, and then it has like in the center it has a like semicircle, and that would be the thing in the middle of it. Here is an older drawing of Kit shuffling cards. It was practice using or drawing hands. Here's Kit with his, at the time, main weapon. He still does have that weapon, he just doesn't use it as much now because sometimes he needs to use something that does more damage. Here is him angry with his okay, there you can see him better without the glare through the paper. He has in his hand a special thing that down at the bottom is Alchemist Fire, and that's a wind up piston that will set it off when he sets the timer on it. This was one of my first really concerted effort drawings of Kit.